Hello everyone, my name is James Jack. I'm with Ernestine J. Wilson Real Estate, and for the next half hour we're going to talk about real estate. And of course, since the show is entitled Ernestine J. Wilson Real Estate, then I would like for everyone to meet Ernestine J. Wilson, who is the broker-in-chief at Ernestine J. Wilson Real Estate. And how are you doing?
I'm well, thanks. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. We've got a lot to talk about. And also with us is one of our associates, LESLEE LOWSTUTER. How are you doing?
I'm well, James.
I'm going to make sure that you do a lot of talking. So it won't be all question and answer. It'll just be us just conversing and talking about real estate as we always do every day. We do work together, and we see a lot of changes in the industry as we've seen over the past year. And for a lot of the audience, the viewers, who have not basically kept up with what's going on in radio, we're just going to talk about some of those topical issues. I would like to start off with what I think is one of the most interesting topics of the year, and that is the movement of distressed properties. So, Ernestine, tell us about distressed properties. What are they, and what are we doing as far as helping people?
Distressed properties could cover a whole lot of subjects. One distressed property would be a property that needs repair. A distressed property could be a property whose owner has financial difficulties. So those are the two areas that most people think about when they think about distressed properties, either a financial problem or the property itself is in bad repair.
Okay, more specifically, give an example of, say, an owner who is distressed.
Well, that would be one of the people that we hear about on the news, on the radio, someone who owes more money than their property is worth and needs to sell, or someone who basically just fell on bad times, lost their job, someone in the family got sick, they stopped making mortgage payments, they're close to foreclosure, things like that.
Okay, we're going to talk more about people who are in a distressed position. But first, LESLEE, tell me about a distressed property.
Well, those are usually properties where the homeowner hasn't been able to take care of them. They've fallen on disrepair, so they no longer hold the value that they once did. So their mortgage is more than the property may be worth. And like Ernestine said, usually that means someone hasn't been paying their mortgage and they're in a position where they're being forced to sell their home.
So it's a double whammy.
Right.
Okay, Ernestine, I would like for you to tell me what we've been doing so that the viewers will know exactly how we can help, or whether or not, if we're not the people to help them, they can call on someone else.
Well, we probably are the best ones to help them, but to tell people what we've been doing, we've seen so many people who've had so many problems with their mortgages. We've seen friends, people in our neighborhood who've walked away from their homes simply because they just gave up. They didn't know that they had other options. So when someone gets in trouble, it's a good idea to talk to someone about it. We noticed, like I said, all of these people walking away from their homes really didn't have to. So we started doing sessions in libraries where we invited people to come in that were categorized as distressed, either financially or their homes were, and we gave them consultation on what to do to help them with their situation, either to help them work through a modification, to delay a foreclosure, or some to get their home sold as a short sale.
I would like to point out that even though we're only here for a few minutes talking about distressed properties and distressed homeowners, people can call us at any time and talk about their situation. It doesn't mean that there's any obligation at all to tell us basically what their situation is or how we can help them, but we will help those that are willing to listen and or point them in the right direction towards someone else. just for a moment, let me give the telephone number. It's 301-306-5314, 301-306-5314. And you can call us and speak to anyone, and we'll sort of give you an idea as to what you should be doing now and what can be done in the future. Now, distressed property. Tell me what happens when the property goes into that distressed state, how it impacts the owner and what can be done.
Well, usually the owners don't have the resources because they're in some kind of financial situation to repair the property, and its value drops. And when that happens, it no longer holds the value, say, of the mortgage. So they're paying the same mortgage rate, but the home may not have the value that it once did. And that can necessitate a short sale also. That way the homeowner can get out from underneath a mortgage payment that they're paying that's a higher value than their home is worth, in effect.
Okay, two terms have been mentioned, foreclosure and short sale. Short sale, can you tell me more about the short sale?
Okay. A short sale, like Leslie said, usually happens when a person needs to sell a home and they owe more on the property than the value. In that instance, everyone who is a lender on the home has to approve getting the short amount. For instance, let's say someone owes $200,000 on their house and the house is only worth $150,000. The difference between the $150,000 and the $200,000 plus any costs for selling the property would be the short amount. So that person would have a short amount of probably $60,000 or $70,000. And that's an amount that the lender has to approve basically has to forget about ever getting, to say it's okay, we don't expect you to pay that money anymore. So that's a short sale in layman's terms.
Okay, in a minute, I want you to tell me about foreclosures.
Okay.
But first I want to tell everybody that over the past year, we beefed up our website, and also we provided email access so that if you have a question about short sales, foreclosures, about distressed properties, or even if you're in great shape and you just want to know more, you can email us at ewilsonrealty@hotmail.com, ewilsonrealty@hotmail.com, or you can go online to homesradio.com. That's homesradio, one word, .com, and you'll see a lot of information basically about some of the things that we're talking about, plus other things too, because it's not all about distressed properties. Now, what I would like to talk about for just a minute or so is the difference between the short sale and the foreclosure before we get to the foreclosure in terms of a timeline. Most of the people we talk to go into a state of mind whereby as they really don't want to deal with it or they don't know how to deal with it, it becomes a psychological problem. So we're not experts in that area, but we've seen it, and usually it takes on what I call a state of mind of denial. They're hoping that it will go away or that something will happen, to rectify the problem. But the timeline that I was speaking about is a very short time period. And even though people have been told, oh, well, you can stay in your house for a long time, they've heard other people talk about, I stayed in my house for 2 years and then finally, it's all over. That may not be true in every case. So you have a timeline, and usually it starts with you knowing that you are late on your payment and you're wondering how long will it be before the mortgage company, the lender, or whoever contacts you. It will probably happen within about 2 weeks after you become late the first time around. That is compounded by each time you are late. And you'll know that you're not the only one who's aware of it, because you'll start receiving letters from the bank, the lender, the attorneys, and everybody else. And so it's hard to predict what can happen once you do go into default, but we do know for sure that the inevitable outcome will be you either losing your house or you being able to save your house by working with someone like us. Now, tell us about the foreclosure, Leslie.
Well, the process with the lending institution, the bank, mortgage company, usually starts, like you said, 2 weeks after that first 30-day period when you're late. But it doesn't mean that you're going to lose your home. What it means once you begin getting notices from that bank, lender, or mortgage company is you need to be proactive with them and take action. The foreclosure timeline is such that you will receive notices all along the way of what's coming. You need to keep communicating with the bank in order to remedy the situation. You can't go into a state of denial and do nothing. There are options for homeowners, and that's one of the things that we can discuss when we meet with someone one-on-one. We do provide general information in our workshops, but are always happy to talk to any individually, find out a situation.
Okay. A lot of people have asked me, well, what if I let my house foreclose? How does that impact me a year from now or 2 years from now? And even though we don't have a lot of time in this first little segment, when we come back, I'll explain more about that, or have Ernestine and Leslie to explain even more about how you are impacted by the foreclosure,
Right.
or how you would be impacted by the short sale. Mainly, the discussion is about your credit scores, the condition of your credit health, and also whether or not it impacts you as an employee, and also what it does to the family psychologically. So we're going to talk about that and more. So getting back to what we were talking about before, is that in this market, we would have thought that by now we wouldn't have any more distressed properties. That was several years ago. But this is a problem that has lasted longer than we could have imagined. And we don't know how long it's going to last. But we do know that there are solutions, and we've talked about some of those solutions. Again, if you have questions, don't hesitate to call us. That's at 301-306-5314. Or email us at ewilsonrealty@hotmail.com, or go online to homesradio.com, and you'll basically see a lot of what we've discussed here. When we come back, we're going to talk about just one more little item involving short sales.
Could I suggest one thing we talk about?
Okay.
Helping people save their homes.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
All right. We'll be right back after this message.
Hi, my name is Sylvana, the greatest rock star ever. That's the hit song that you're listening to in the background, and I managed you to watch Skills to Pay the Bills.
We're back, and we're glad that everybody decided to stay with us because there's a lot of information that we're eager to give to you. My name is James Jack, and I'm with Ernestine Wilson Real Estate. This is Ernestine, she's the broker, and this is LESLEE LOWSTUTER, who is one of our associates. As I stated earlier, we have a website entitled homesradio.com. People ask, well, why Homes Radio? Well, we really want to try to do something different and stand apart from everybody else, but by that same token, we're here to help people solve problems, whether it's buying a home, selling a home, or staying in their home, or making other types of critical decisions, even down to how to plant roses. We'll talk about that. Now, in the first segment, we talked about short sales and foreclosures. So I want you to pick up from there and tell us what you were telling us just a minute ago.
What I was saying is that, yes, we can talk about foreclosures and we can talk about short sales, but both those mean that the family moves out of the house. Our first objective when we meet someone is to help them stay in their home. A lot of people have gone through the modification process 4 or 5 times with their lenders. They have been discouraged. They have not been able to work anything out.
Briefly explain the modification process.
The modification process is really hell for some people.
Okay.
It is a process where The lender asks you for lots of information, financials. They want to know why you didn't make your mortgage payments or why you need for your payments to change. A modification is just a change. The change would be something like the lender would lower your loan rate to 2 or 3%, or the lender could take the payments that are in arrears and tack them on to the end of a loan. They have all kinds of flexibility to change the payment to make it affordable for the current financial situation that people find themselves in.
But we meet people who say, I've done this 2 or 3 times, it's not working out, I'm at a brick wall. Can we help them through the process?
We can. We are not modification specialists, but we've seen enough garbage and we've seen enough excuses so that we can help people navigate through that in a lot of instances. We are not able to save everyone, but I'm proud of the fact that whenever someone has approached us about a property and they were almost in foreclosure, over the last couple of years, we've been able to delay the foreclosure and to help them some way or another. So what I would like for us to just talk about for a little while is just that we can help people stay in their homes if that is what they would ideally like to do.
Okay.
In a lot of instances.
So what can people do working with us to stay in their homes?
It depends on the situation and the lender. So they need to come and talk with us, and we'll just share information. We'll let them know what we've experienced, what other people have experienced, and we'll give them advice. If we don't know the answers, we can direct them to people who do.
Okay. Now, we want to talk about how their credit, their employment, and all those other things are impacted by either doing the right thing, the most prudent thing, or not doing anything at all.
What's the
Leslie?
most prudent thing?
To come to us.
Okay.
Well, I think there was a period of time where people were walking away from homes and thinking foreclosure was a way to get out of a home in a downturn market, but there are consequences to that. Foreclosures stay on your record permanently. They're a matter of public record. They affect your credit for a much longer period of time than, say, being late for some payments and then working with a bank to correct the situation, or going through a short sale. Many employers these days check credit history as a matter of employment, and the foreclosure does not sit well with a lot of employers. It can affect security clearances. It can also affect current or future employment. So the goal would be to stay in the home if possible, work something out with your lender, banker, or if all else fails, go ahead and make that short sale so that you are disposing of the property in the best way that you can for yourself. It helps your credit score. It's a much shorter period of time that the overall credit rating is affected, and the score points that are involved are much less.
Now,
sorry, go ahead.
Now, we dealt with the credit aspect of it. What if, say, you are a government employee or you work for one of the police departments in this area, for example? Do they get a free ride, or are there different guidelines for them in terms of what happens if you get a foreclosure, or if you have, if you're fortunate enough to get a short sale?
Well, in terms of their employer running their credit, or other modifications to the loan?
Okay, I think that a lot of people don't realize that, say, if they are a government employee and they're not aware of the fact that, say, if they have a foreclosure and there's a deficiency judgment against them, that one day their employer comes to them and says, we've been notified by either the IRS or by the state that you owe this amount in arrears as far as taxes are concerned, and you thought that was taken care of once you walked away from the house. So this is not true with every employee and every employer, but people who work in different types of environs are affected differently. So that was, that was a point that I
Well,
wanted.
if their employer checks credit, and it's a condition of employment to have good credit, a foreclosure can definitely damage that your employability. And security clearances often are tied to good credit or a healthy, robust credit, if that's what you're referring to.
I think that what you're trying to get us to say is that if there is a deficiency balance, meaning if the property forecloses, you have no control over how much money is owed at the end. Whereas if you have a short sale, usually the lender will make a determination that you owe a small amount of money and you'll know exactly how much that money is, and they'll set terms on how to pay it back. Or they oftentimes will say you owe no more money, you have no other obligation, and that is in writing, it's set in stone. So you will not have a garnishment. But if your property is foreclosed, if you walk away from the property, you have absolutely no control over what happens in the future. You don't know whether or not the lender is going to come back, or the investor, or the mortgage company, and attach your wages and get that money. So that could be a big problem for you financially and for your employer.
Okay, that's good news. And that leads us into even better news. You get a short sale, you're able to move on, or you're able to avoid foreclosure. You get a modification, you can stay in your home. So let's try to get back to square one and talk about one of the things that you like to talk about, Leslie, and that is, how do you beautify, how do you take care of your home? In short, what can people do to just, I walk around the house every day and I look for things that need to be repaired. I'm not a beautification person. Tell me some of the things that people can do.
One of the big things that everybody talks about these days is curb appeal for your home. So you want to, in order to maintain that value in your home and not get into a distressed situation, you want to keep your home both inside and out in good working order, all the mechanical, plumbing systems, and also take care of your home, especially this time of year. Seasonally, there's a lot of things you can do to, this is a good time to trim your bushes and mulch and feed the lawn, things that next spring will really make your home have that curb appeal. And on the inside, of course, at this time of year, you want to check the heating systems, batteries in your smoke detectors. One of the simplest things that homeowners can do also to reduce their energy bills is check for drafts around windows and doors, and simple string caulking is easy to put on yourself. Even reversing your ceiling fans at this time of year so that the warm air is pushed down saves on your energy bills. I mean, it's just general maintenance of your home, both inside and out, is what every homeowner should do in order to maintain that value of their property.
And also consider a home warranty for major appliances. You never can tell when the microwave is going to go out, or when there's something that is unseen or unforeseen, I should say, and the home warranty would take care of that. Of course, we don't sell home warranties. We don't fix appliances and things like that, but we have friends and we have associates and people we've met along the way who can help, you or anybody else who cannot do it themselves. So now let's just take a look at what we talked about. We talked about the distressed homeowner, the person who is walking around in a tizzy and wondering, oh me, oh my, what am I going to do?
Or a fog.
Yeah, in a fog. We have the distressed home that, as a result of the homeowner not being able to take care of all of the ongoing problems with the house, there's the double whammy. It's sort of like the hurricane, and then after the storm, the water damage and everything else, that we have seen happen before. And we talked about foreclosure prevention, which, as we said before, if you or someone that you know is at the brink on the ledge or the edge, then they should give us a call. Again, our number is 301-306-69. No, that's the other one. 301-306-5314. A little humor, a little levity. And email us at ewilsonrealty@hotmail.com, or you can also go on the web to our website at homesradio.com and see some of the things that we're talking about and make suggestions to in our blog if you just happen to be one of those types of people that knows everything that somebody else should know. Again, I want to thank you, Ernestine, for coming by and sharing. I want you to come back and share more. And of course, Leslie, I want you to come with Ernestine and share more here at homesradio.com and Ernestine J. Wilson Real Estate. I'm James Jack.